Hey y'all, my name is Mikki Zipp. I just released my first EP titled Something to Write About. Go listen to it. And you're listening to Hank Jr. on Hank's Corner.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another exciting episode of Hank's Corner. I'm Hank Jr., part of Hank Jr. Productions, where I'm documenting life's moments through photography, videography, and, of course, podcasting. I'm excited about my next guest that's on here. She is kind of a new artist to me. She's not necessarily a new one out there, but I recently discovered you may have seen her on my New Music Friday post, and actually, she just came out with a 4-song EP that's been on that. Please welcome to my corner, Mikki Zipp. Mikki, how are you doing today?
I am doing good. Thanks for having me.
Oh, I'm glad to have you here, and I'm excited to talk with you. You got a new EP that's out with 4 songs. I mean, you just kind of been really putting out a lot of new music lately. How's that been for you?
Yeah, it's been very exciting. I've never put out a project like this before. This is the first time I'm not just doing singles. So released 2 off of it as singles and now putting it all together as a full project with 2 more songs. It's been quite the process, but the people I've worked with have made it a wonderful and creative and fantastic process.
And tell us the name of the EP.
It's called Something to Write About.
Go figure, right? Give a little something to write because you do write your music. And I'm curious, though, with all the way technology is, and we stream a lot of the music. Now that you got an EP out, is there a physical copy of this?
Yeah, I have actually been thinking about, okay, maybe it's time to do some physical copies since we got a full project here. So there's definitely something that's on the way for sure. I'd love to do even a vinyl somewhere in the future. I think that would be so cool to have just a couple of them. I love vinyls, very much so. So
Yeah, well, you have me at vinyl because that is becoming very popular lately. And, I used to collect it as a kid, and that was towards the later end of vinyls where cassettes were coming out and then eventually CDs, and nobody did vinyls anymore. And eventually, I don't know what happened to my record player at the time, but now that everybody's coming out with their own vinyls, I had to go back and get another record player to be able to do this. So if you do have that come out, I'm going to be first in line to get that.
Heck yeah. I got my record player right behind me here and a whole collection of records from my parents that have been passed down to them. I'm all about the vinyls.
That's awesome. It's great seeing some of the stuff that comes back around. I mean, some of the stuff that when I was a kid, I'm glad, I should say that when it does come back, I'm not glad that it is. It really should have stayed there in the 70s and 80s and all, even the 90s. But, vinyl is definitely one of the ones that I'm glad that's coming back. But for those who know me, my little corner is in the Tampa Bay area. I know you've been in Nashville for a while, but, where are you originally from? I know it's upstate New York somewhere.
Yeah, I am actually from Syracuse, New York. So we call it upstate. We call it central New York, but I've lived here for about 11 years, kind of on and off. But yeah, I always come back to Nashville. I love it here. So.
Yeah, whether it's central or truly up north, anything out of New York City, from being up in the Jersey area for a while, anything out of New York City was considered upstate to us.
Yeah,
it's a whole different world. And my wife and I many moons ago actually did go up and to the mountain area and celebrated our honeymoon up there at a dude ranch and got to enjoy upstate New York for the first time.
Yeah, it's gorgeous up there, especially during the fall time. The leaves are changing, the Adirondacks up there and everything. It is gorgeous.
Yeah, we don't get to see that fall changing here in Florida. All we have is a bunch of hurricanes that seem to be coming through. But, I do love the fall up north, and I do love a little bit of the winter. But after January 1st, let's bring back the spring, in my opinion.
Yes, I agree with that. Part of why I'm happy to be here in Tennessee now. I feel like we experience all 4 seasons here, but none of them too extreme most of the time, I will say. We'll get a couple days here and there, but none of them too extreme.
Yeah, I'm definitely jealous of the Nashville weather most of the time of the year. And, I'm always happy to get up in that direction. But, back up in New York, I saw that you got to participate in the state fair. Tell us a little bit about that.
Oh my gosh, that was amazing. It's always so fun to go play back home and just to see so many friends and family that get to come out and actually watch what you're working so hard on elsewhere. And yeah, I got to play at Shamrocks at the New York State Fair, and then got to hop right on over to News Channel 9 and talk on the Syracuse News there. And I actually had friends and family who had their Mikki Zipp shirts on, and one of them was getting a call. It was like, hey, there's someone with a Mikki Zipp shirt on television right now. Like, oh my gosh, like friends and family were calling, being like, I can't believe this. And they're like, Mickey's about to be on. And it was such a cool, very cool experience. And I'm thankful for the support that I got up there for sure.
Yeah, definitely. And I got actually one of them on by chance here. One of my Hank Jr. production shirts that my wife actually has to make them, and I'm waiting for one day that I could, be as happy as you and say, "Hey, wait a minute, somebody's got my shirt out
Yeah,
there."
cool.
but
It was
I
cool.
haven't seen that yet on TV. I'll keep hoping for that.
Yeah.
And those who know me, I usually kind of talk about it at the end, but it's a good time to talk about it now. Is food. Being at the state fair there. Did you try anything? Kind of crazy, or do you kind of stay away from that kind of stuff?
You're bringing up my favorite subject of the great New York State
Yes.
Fair. Let me tell you. The New York State Fair is not even comparable to any other fair, in my opinion. People can be angry about this. I love a good Southern fair. Don't get me wrong. But the food in New York, I mean, already fantastic. But the food of the Great New York State Fair. I mean, we have a dairy building with milk. You get, that's the thing of my childhood, the 25 cents, and you get fresh milk from the milk
Mm.
building, chocolate milk. Oh my gosh, the chocolate milk's the best thing in the world. You got to get the twisted tater. I know they have those some other places, but big potato on a stick. I stick to the classics there. Fried dough is one of the big things. The pizza at the New York State Fair is the greatest. A London broil. You might not know what these things are, but they're some of my favorite things from growing up at the New York State Fair.
No, definitely. I do know what they are. And, unfortunately, me growing up, I didn't really get to spend a lot of time anywhere near the state fairs. Now that I'm older, we got, the Strawberry Festival just outside of Tampa here, which is great for that kind of food.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of playing a lot of catch up that I didn't get to do when I was a kid and tried all these different things. And, I definitely like it too. But, enough with the food. I'm definitely want to get back to the music, because that's definitely why we have you here. Like I said, your new EP that's out. One of the songs on there you have that you were just talking to me about. Give us a little bit of a talk about it, and I'm kind of hoping that you will be willing to play, because I see a guitar there.
Yes, now ready to go. Yeah, I think we're talking about the devil, right? That
That's right.
song is it is one of the ones that's coming out that came out with the full EP, and this one is totally very Southern rock tune. If you go listen to a recording, I mean, I got my guitar player Will Tipton on there, absolutely shredding on it. Okay, it is so much fun. It was a solo write for me, and I just I sat down one day with a lot of overwhelmness. This industry, I love it, but it can be overwhelming at times. And I sat down after a pretty overwhelming day, and I just kind of talked about that devil on your shoulder that kind of just wants to whisper in your ear and kind of bring you down. And when I play this song live, I always say this is about whatever the devil is in your life that just won't leave you alone and is a little annoying sometimes. So that could be, the thoughts in your own head too, just trying to tear you down. But the song is kind of meant to be like, you got to me, devil, but in the end, I'm pulling through, and I'm still gonna make it.
If you wouldn't mind, we would love to hear it here on Hank's
Yeah,
Corner.
let's do it. Let's do it. Why do you come back dancing on my shoulder? I try to shake you, but you keep getting bolder. Now just settle down until you go away. But that don't work, 'cause you sent away the angel to try to worm me. The bad you are ever doing to my mind. Devil, you make my hair gray, and my good thoughts don't know how to stay when the devil comes out to play. My hand starts shaking, feel like I can't breathe. I lost all motivation and my mind's playing tricks on me. And my good thoughts don't know how to stay when the devil comes out to play. And I push away everyone I love, 'cause they could never help. Even though they can hear me as I scream and yell. Well, I decided you can't hold me down, and life isn't living when you're around, and my good thoughts don't know how to stay when the devil comes out to play. Now the devil's gonna stay away.
And you can see why I decided to start following Mikki Zipp there, because listen to that voice. And she's a very talented songwriter as well. That was her with the devil. That was awesome. And you know what? I'm always glad when people get to sing. And you just sound so great. And there's one thing about listening to music, and then there's another thing listening to you live. And it's both awesome, and I appreciate that. But this is now the time that we're going to start trying to find out a little bit more about you, because I love documenting life's moments. And I want to start it off with my new segment that we've been doing for a little while that everybody seems to like, which is the two truths and a lie. If you're willing to play, this is how it goes. You are going to give me three statements. Two of them are going to be true. One of them's not going to be true. And I'm going to have to figure out by the end of the show which ones are the truths and which one is the lie. You want to play?
Yes, I'm down. I think I got some good ones.
Let's do it then.
Some of them are kind of little facts about me. So we'll see if you can kind of see through the music maybe a little bit too. So my three statements. Okay. One of my biggest musical influences is Linda Ronstadt. I went to college in Florida, actually. And I was on The Price is Right.
All right. So that is definitely an interesting set of statements there. I need to determine out whether or not one of your biggest influences, Linda Ronstadt, you went to college here in this state of Florida, and you've actually been on The Price is Right. So that, either way, whatever it comes up with there is definitely intriguing. So we're going to see if I can guess it by the end of the show.
I hope I can.
Well, it's not too hard to stop me. I'm not the greatest one, but I'm actually, I told you a little bit offline, I'm about a little bit more than 50-50. So it's kind of like a flip of the coin when it comes to it. But I do want to go back. Like I said, you started out in Syracuse, and about the age of, I guess what it was, about 14, you started getting that Nashville bug. Tell me, how did you start getting that Nashville bug, and what led you to want to do music as a career?
Yeah. Growing up in New York, you wouldn't think there's much country music around, but there definitely is. There is especially like a Southern rock type of scene up in Syracuse, but country music as well. I grew up around a lot of that. My mom played a lot of different kinds of music for me growing up. So that's why a lot of musical influences kind of, come together for me. Elton John. I love Elton John. It's one of my mom's favorites. Grew up listening to him a ton, but also grew up listening to, Reba a ton and stuff like that. But my uncle, he plays country music up in upstate and has since I was younger. So I grew up being 6, 7 years old and getting to go into the bars and watch my uncle play country music. And that was definitely, such a big influence for me. And seeing that this can be your life, this can be your career, performance performance on a stage and writing your own songs and sharing those with people, that can be a career. I was introduced to that there. And I've always been in theater as well. I will mention that too. So anywhere there was a stage, I was very much all about it, and influenced by a lot of different ways. And coming here to Nashville at 14, my parents kind of knew the area because my uncle lived here for a little bit. So they knew that when it was time to kind of move out of Syracuse, and, other than college for my mom, they had lived there their whole entire lives. And they saw that, we want to give her a place where she can really foster this creativity and really grow. And they said, you know what? TJ used to live in Nashville and it's a great area. We love it. So what would be better? And I'm so glad that they did.
Yeah, and I find it always pretty cool, pretty awesome when parents actually back the dreams,
Yeah.
of their child. Because something like this, it's one thing to say, hey mom, I want to be, I don't know, a doctor. Okay, well, we're going to go ahead and
Yeah.
do what you can to get you to school. But what do you say about a music artist? And maybe I watch too much TV or whatever. You see that, well, no, you'll never amount to anything being a music artist, and you just can't do it. But I found out that in real life, there's a lot of people that actually have had the parent support, and thankful for them, because actually artists need a lot of startup money, all that kind of stuff. And if it wasn't for a lot of parents, we wouldn't get to hear a lot of this good music.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I'm so thankful for my parents, because like you say, I mean, they could have totally said, "Hey, this is a little bit of a risky dream and a risky thing to chase. Let's go off on another path that's more sure proof, and go for that." But they've always supported me and everything I've done. And I will shout out my grandma as well, because she has also been one of my day one supporters and someone that I can call back home and talk to every day about all the ups and downs here. And I am grateful for that.
Yeah, and speaking of ups and downs, tell us a little bit about, your life as a musician as far as the ups and downs. What are some of the most rewarding things find as a musician, and which are those things that are just like, man, I'm having a hard day, and it's because of this. Just describe something like that for us.
Yeah, I mean, I will say, like, some of the ups would probably include like getting moments to songwrite with my favorite co-writers and things like that. Of just those are friends at that point that you're basically in a big therapy session together, writing a song. Sometimes those are great days when I get to get connect with others in a room through music. That's wonderful. And any shows that we get to go play, we got to go out and play some shows out of town this summer, and that was as a full band, a few of them too. And that was really, really wonderful. We did a 2-night run in Knoxville, and those were two of my favorite shows of the year. We got to meet people from really all over the place there that we're visiting, and that was so wonderful. But as many ups as there are the downs. You're riding a roller coaster here, and Nashville is so much fun. I love it here. It is so great for networking and connecting with people. It is wonderful. But you're in a rat race, and it's easy to get in your head a little and say, "Oh my gosh, am I not doing enough of this or enough of that because I saw this person do that?" You have to remember that everybody's on their own journey. And I got to remind myself that, a lot of the times, we're on our own path.
And I could relate to that as a photographer too. You almost need to have blinders on, because you look at other people and you say, well, man, why didn't I do that? Because look at, the result of that. And, they're doing this better over here. And, just kind of feel like you're just not doing enough, like you said. And, fortunately, you got to hope that the good days outnumber the bad, and, that sort of thing. But what would you give, as far as advice to somebody who says, well, I want to come to Nashville, I want to take that leap. What advice would you give them?
Yeah, I'd say kind of bouncing back off of that is like, definitely wear those blinders. Don't let what anybody's saying or doing kind of sway you. It's always good to be open to advice or opinion, especially when you're looking for an ask, and be open to people's suggestions of things, because you only grow if you listen to, the feedback from around you, really. But at the same time, there's going to be people here that are going to try and get in your head and say things. It is, I hate saying it's a competition. I don't view people as competition because I want to be friends and connect more as like songwriters and write together and do all that stuff. But some people do view it as a competition, and don't let those people try and get in your head. I will say, from being in the theater world too, I've been at many auditions where right before you step in that door, people are trying to get inside your head a little bit before you step in there. You can't let the mental take over and let them win on that end.
Yeah, well said. Let's go ahead and play Strangers again. And when we come back, let's talk a little bit about your songwriting skills.
Yeah, awesome. There's pictures of us on the wall. People in them I don't recognize. Moments when we had it all. Now we're waiting on the goodbye. Had a lot of love in this house. Can't help but wonder as I'm headed out. Will you still be driving with no direction? Scared losing your own reflection. I always told you were fine. We had the best intentions. Your demons came and wrecked us. Looking back, it was a matter of time. Strangers when we met, loved till we had nothing left, and now we're strangers again. Who are you now that I'm gone? Pray that you found what you were chasing. You still play that Skinner song. And when you do, can you hear me singing? Are you still driving with no direction? Scared losing your own reflection? I always told you were fine. We had the best intentions. Your demons came and wrecked us. Looking back, it was a matter of time. Strangers when we met, loved till we had nothing left, and now we're strangers again. Well, I took my time to mend. I think I'm ready to meet strangers again. Someone who's driving with direction, loves who's in their own reflection, never makes me wonder if we're fine. We had the best intentions. The demons came and wrecked on. Looking back, it was a matter of time. Strangers when we met, loved till we had nothing left, and now we're strangers again. Oh, strangers again.
Welcome back to Hake's Corner. That was my special guest, Mikki Zipp. Now, you mentioned that you do a lot of songwriting yourself. How easy for you, one, is to compose, from a thought into a song, and two, how easy is it for you to kind of talk about anything personal in your song?
Yeah, I like being personal in my songs. I think that's what comes easiest to me. They say write what you know, and I definitely think that. being in a writer's room, I like to draw from inspiration for my life. I mean, but sometimes you can overhear someone talking about something. I came up with an idea the other day that I quickly jotted down in my phone of just something I overheard somebody saying. But even when you hear that, you do take it and twist it with, your own thoughts and what you got going on in your own life sometimes too. But I do love when I'm in a room and maybe I'm songwriting for somebody else, or maybe it's somebody else's experience or somebody else's ideas. I love hearing other people's stories in the room too. I think that's really fun.
Now, do the lyrics come first? Does the melody come first, or it just depends on the
Yeah,
day?
that's the golden question. I think that it depends on the day. Personally, I am a lyrics person through and through. I will always have like a bass idea. My guitar player, he will totally like come up with like licks and stuff, and we can run off of it based off of just the lick that he has. But I'll always connect it with some already lyrical idea that I have. So I'm definitely a lyrics person, and I think those are definitely usually what comes first. But maybe on an off day, I'll come up with a melody first.
How old were you when you wrote your first song, and do you remember it, and do you still play it?
I absolutely do not play it. I wrote the song when I was like, oh my gosh, like 10 years old, I want to say. I probably jotted down lyrics, since I know I jotted down a lot of lyrics before that, but full on song. I had just learned how to play the guitar. And of course, I was like, well, I learned to play this thing so that I can sing with it and write my own songs. So after my first guitar lesson, I was like, all right, now I have to write a song. But like, what does a 10-year-old write a song about? Well, I'll tell you. It was a song about how I wish I had a replay button, and how I wish that we could just replay moments when I felt silly and stupid. That was my song. And I definitely do not play it today. It is a long forgotten memory of what even exactly was written down, but I know that was the overview of it, most definitely.
And honestly, that's kind of refreshing to hear, because usually when I talk to the guest on my show, the females will usually have the Taylor Swift syndrome and say, "Well, I wrote about a boy who done me wrong." The guys will usually say, "I wrote about a girl that I loved." And this is just some fun. Hey, let's relive moments. All those moments that you may have lived up to 10 years old that you just really wanted to relive. That's awesome. But you're not unique, because a lot of people, almost everybody except for Ali Colleen, who's been on my podcast, has said, I am not going to play my first song out there. She's the only one that says, I will do it if somebody requests it. So I said, well, I want to remember that. First time I see you, I'm going to request it and see if you really do that. But I get it, and especially if it's 10 years old. I mean, obviously, you got a lot to grow, but, some people write a little bit later, or and they just don't want it because it's conflicting with their brand, and I get it, and if that's the case, I always say, you know what, I get that you're branding, but if it's good enough, to put out at one point on YouTube or Spotify, I always find it awesome if they do leave it, because it gives me as an audience a chance to really feel more connected to the artist, to kind of see where they went and how they got to. But I get it, and branding's a big thing, and I'm sure you have to do that too.
Oh yeah, definitely. There's been a song or two on SoundCloud that I definitely was like, okay, we're gonna remove this off of here now. Not that I'm ever like embarrassed of where I come from, and like the growth that has happened. It's exactly what you said. It's just like a branding thing, I just want to make sure what everybody's hearing is truly me now.
Yeah, and that makes sense, because you see a lot of pictures on my wall, but you're not going to see the ones that I started out with. Some of those are family pictures. You might see them on the wall downstairs, but you're not going to see them in my portfolio. That's so I get it perfectly. But we've been talking a lot about the writing, and something to write about is the title of your EP. We would love it if you would play one more song for us, and that would be the one.
Let's do it. All right. Yes. Called Something to Write About. So excited. Your life lies behind the mic. Home one day, gone the next night. Your dreams are something I can't fight. 'Cause I'm spending most of my days strumming on a stage, so I can never ask you to change. We'll figure it out with the lyrics on a page. When the lights go out, we're just a girl and boy, not worried about all the noise. Yeah, we're trying to make it, trying to keep our hearts from breaking. But is it all just something to write about? Am I someone you can do without? The ups and downs have got me doubting everything I believe. But this love feels like a melody I found, or is it just something to write about? Yeah. Whenever you walk into a room, all them eyes are on you, boy. But I know who you're coming home to. Gotta keep telling myself that's the truth. But is it all just something to write about? Am I someone you can do without? The ups and downs have got me doubting everything I believe. But this love feels like a melody I found, or is it just something to write about? Now the Fleetwood Mac kind of thing, screaming at you with the words I sing. Give me someone true like Johnny and June. Hell, I know they have problems too, but they got through. 'Cause this is something to write about. Your love is something I can do without. The ups and downs have got me doubting everything I believe. But this love feels like a melody I found, or it shows something to write about. Yeah, oh, something to write about.
Welcome back to Hank's Corner. I'm Hank Jr., and that was my special guest, Mikki Zipp, with something to write about, the title track of her most recent EP, which came out on October 18th. Something to write about, loving it. You know, it's definitely great. Be looking for it to hopefully come out on CD or even better, on a vinyl, and buy up all the stuff, but just make sure you save one for me so I can get it. So, because we talked about how I like vinyl. So now, as we get towards the end, I got to kind of start wrapping things up and kind of figuring out, you kind of two truths and a lie. And, I've thought about it, and the way I'm going to approach this is I'm going to approach it by saying the things that I want to be true, as the truth. So here's what I'm going to say. I'm going to say that, Linda Ronstadt is a major influence for you. I want it to be true that you're on The Price is Right, and I'm guessing then I have to say that you have not gone to college in Florida.
You got it right. Oh my
Oh,
gosh, you did it.
but now I gotta know. Tell me about The Price is Right.
Oh my gosh. So we'll never be able to find the episode because it is under my full name, which is not Mikki Zipp, but something like it. They're both nicknames for my full name. But yeah, I was on The Price is Right back when I was going to college in LA, actually. I did a semester in New York City as well. Yeah, so I won an ATV and two cell phones and Italian kitchen set.
Oh, wow.
So I didn't take the Italian kitchen set because you do still have to pay like taxes on them and stuff. And I was like, what am I going to do with an Italian kitchen set right now? I have no idea. Just came back home. It was like right before COVID hit and everything. So I ended up coming back home to Nashville, and I was with my parents, and I was like, guys, where am I going to keep an Italian kitchen set and get a garage? Like, that just doesn't sound like a good idea. I tried to get the ATV, but because of COVID, everything was so back ordered that they just ended up sending me the money for it. So that was very nice. And I got the cell phone, so that was an easy one. So yeah, it was the most shocking day of my life, I think, because you have no idea that they're going to call your name and say, "Come on down." So
Yeah, that's got to be pretty cool. And what games did you have to play to win that?
yeah, so I was the first one on that episode to win like the very first game where you like guess the how you got to be close to like how much the cell phones were. I won
Hmm.
that, and then I got up on there and did the over and under game, which you had to guess which one was over and which one was under, and that was both the ATV and the kitchen set. And then I spun the wheel, and it was a
Wow.
terrible spin, which not my fault. Okay, that's pure luck. So I didn't make it to the showcase, but it was quite the experience. It was crazy.
Yeah, I think just spinning that wheel alone's got to be, one of the most fun things ever, and I don't believe what they say that somebody's in the back that kind of controls
Yeah,
it to keep you from
no,
getting it.
no, I didn't see anyone back there. I did not see anyone.
That's awesome. And then I assume then that was, obviously with Drew Carey was the host, and
Yeah,
how was it to meet him?
he was so nice. It was so cool. It was like, so I kind of grew up like watching that show with my papa, and afterwards we actually like weren't allowed to tell anybody that we were like on the show, and I definitely called and told my grandparents. I was like, you guys, you can't tell anyone or else I'm not going to get any of the prizes, but I have to tell you. And they were like literally losing their minds. And it just so happens that right after that, such as LA, I went to go get food with my friend that I went with, and there was like a big YouTuber that we liked at the time that was there, and I told him about it too, who like, is like can post it on the internet to everyone, but he didn't. So thankful to him. But yeah, Drew Carey he was really nice and just a, funny guy. How do you expect Drew Carey to be? But he was kind to me. So
Well, that's awesome, and that's a great story, and I'm glad that I guessed it right because I really wanted that to be the truth.
yeah.
And obviously, who cannot be influenced by Linda Ronstadt?
Oh
What a great voice! What a great performer. You can't go wrong when you pick out one of her songs in your playlist. But speaking about shows, I have not got to see you live, but obviously now I got to enjoy you playing for me live. But should somebody come out and watch a Mikki Zipp show, what should they expect to see?
We bring the energy. All right. I'll say that. My band, I love my band. Shout out to them. They are just such wonderful guys to play with, and they bring the energy along with me. I'm not the only one on stage bringing the energy. They all do. And we definitely like to, if we're doing a more full length like set with a bunch of covers in it, we like to keep you guessing. We play a little Hank Jr., a lot of Hank Jr. actually,
Love
and
it.
we'll do a little bit of everything, some Charlie Daniels. I mean, like we like to kind of mix it up and maybe play songs that people wouldn't expect sometimes, or a little bit more rock stuff, and then a very outlaw country stuff. We like to bring the variety, so there's something for everyone.
Yeah, well, now I'm definitely going to have to see you live, whether it's there in Nashville, maybe out there in New York, or even easier for me if you came down to the Tampa Bay area.
Yeah,
Would definitely love to see you live. But ladies and gentlemen, we've been talking with Mikki Zipp. What a great artist, both singer and songwriter. You can find her on all the social medias under Mikki Zipp, her website, which will tell you where she's going to be at, MikkiZipp.com. And this was a great show. I'm glad I got the opportunity to talk to you. And if you ever want to be a guest on Hank's Corner, you're more than welcome to.
thank you so much. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
In the mirror, blue dress and pink lipstick. This car's getting nearer. I gotta be quick. I'm more than nervous. I hope he is too. could be the last time I feel you holding your hand in mine. And we were holding hands, we made our plans, we know what that future had. The memories of you